Good day, cricket fans, and welcome back to the IslandStats.com Cricket Show. It's Sunday, which means it's time to dive deep into all the action from the local pitches right here in Bermuda. We'll be dissecting the weekend's clashes, celebrating standout performances, and looking ahead to what's next in the 2025 season. Whether you were at the grounds or following online, we've got all the angles covered. So grab your coffee, settle in, and let's talk cricket. Well, good evening and welcome to this edition of the IslandStats.com Cricket Show. I'm your host, Earl Biston. Joining me is co-host Terry Frey. We're hoping to be joined by Andre Doc Manders, who is on location at Seabreeze Oval, where the match between St. David's and Bailey's Bay has just ended, with St. David's winning by 3 wickets, chasing down the 157. But Terry, let me just run down the results that we have from the entire weekend, including yesterday and today. In the first division yesterday, Southampton Rangers won by 52 runs over Warwick Workmen's. Southampton Rangers scored 187 for 6, and Warwick Workmen's could only manage 135 for 7. Somerset Bridge won by 1 run over Willacotts. Somerset Bridge scored 120 for 6 and then restricted Willacotts to 119 for 7. Western Stars won by 39 runs over Flats Victoria. Western Stars scored 126 for 3 and then restricted Flats to 87 for 8. In the Premier Division yesterday, St. David's Cricket Club won by 6 wickets over the St. George's Cricket Club. St. George's could only muster 95 for 9. St. David's would score 96 for 4. Bailey's Bay won by 120 runs over Cleveland County. Bailey's Bay scored 193 for 5 and then restricted Cleveland County to 71 for 5. Somerset Cricket Club won by 32 runs. They scored 120 for 4 and then restricted the Devonshire Recreation Club to 87. In today's action in Premier Division, Somerset Cricket Club continued their winning ways. They've come on of late, and they won by 7 wickets over Cleveland County. Cleveland County were all out for 73. Somerset would score 75 for 3. St. George's Cricket Club won by 4 wickets, came back. Devonshire Recreation Club scored 159 for 4. St. George's were in deep trouble at one point, but managed to score 164 for 6. In first division play, PHC won by 77 runs over Western Stars. PHC scored 161 for 6, and then Western Stars could only manage 84 for 9. Warwick Workmen's Club won by 41 runs over Somerset Bridge. Warwick Workmen scored 153 for 4. Somerset Bridge would only manage 112 for 7. And Willacotts won by 15 runs over Flats Victoria. Willacotts scored 144 for 4 and then restricted Flats to 129 for 8. Those were the results that we had over the weekend, Terry. But let's jump right into today's action. Obviously, the big match between Bailey's Bay and St. David's. St. David's undefeated coming into this match, and took a hurl of St. George's yesterday, and we're taking on their Eastern County rivals today in Bailey's Bay. Bailey's Bay were able to put up a score of 156 for 9. Coolidge Durham coming good again this week, 73 for 55 balls, 5 fours, and 6 sixes. Surprising, because he's as he's getting older, he's getting more aggressive in his game. You think?
Yeah, he's become a bit fearless. But it's kudos to Coolidge, because he's evolved. So a lot of respect to that, because initially he was a slow scorer.
Yes.
But he seems to be very much a more rounded player, more so on the batting side.
A lot of that, I believe, comes with confidence, because I think he thought his job, especially when he was opening with Tarrant, he believed his job was just to hold up his hand and let everybody else score and be the man to just be the anchor kind of thing. But
Right.
over the last 3 seasons, you've seen him kind of come out of a shell and become more aggressive in his batting from time to time.
Yeah. And knowing Coolidge, he's dedicated and committed to training.
Yeah.
I've worked with Coolidge quite a bit here recently, and you can see where he's definitely committed and willing to put the hard work in, and that's the result.
Yeah.
When you're willing to do the extras, this is what happens.
Yeah. Derek Brainman had 2 for 13 over 4 overs, 16 dot balls in his overs, which when you start to talk about Isaiah O'Brien bowled 4 overs, 1 for 32, but he had 10 dot balls. Now, Smith had 13 dot balls in his 4 overs. He gave up 21 and took 1. Kevin Fabler was quite expensive. He bowled 4 overs. He took 1 for 45 and he 8 dot balls. Justin Pitcher had 12 dot balls in his 4 overs. He took 2 for 38. And then in reply, St. David's were in trouble. They were 1 for 28, 2 for 62, 3 for 80. And at one point they were 3 for 80, chasing the 150. But a good stand between Trey and I believe Trey and Ricardo Bregman. Sorry, Trey and Ricardo Bregman pulled him out. Trey was 85 not out. Well, no, Trey had to get out because they gave it. He was the third out. Trey scored 85 runs over 51 balls, 5 fours and 7 sixes. Another one can be quite different at times. Hit the ball on the ground a lot, but when you start looking at 7 sixes from Trey Mendes, kind of raises your eyebrows just a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, even though I've seen Trey clear the boundaries quite easily, regularly, but down in Peerless Bay, you got that short side on the water side.
Yes.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think the wind's coming out of the southwest, so I'm sure he was targeting that short end.
Yeah.
That short side of the field.
Definitely. Yeah. The Peerless Bay had problems burning. I mean, McQuell, Walker 1 for 33 from 4, 10 dot balls. Delray none for 41 from 4, 7 dot balls. Rodney Trott 1 for 38 from 4, 14 dot balls. Shirai 2 for 24 from 3.3, but 13 dot balls. Delray had two wides, 1 no ball. Blakeney had 6 wides. Walker had 4 wides. So that when you start putting up the 19 extras, it made it that much more difficult for Peerless Bay to deny St. David's.
Yeah, most definitely. Again, the bowlers need to be more disciplined.
Yeah,
I don't know what the training routines are like, but this is where they need to show up.
Yeah,
160 is a par score in the T20 here locally.
Right.
So you should be looking for half a decent bowling attack should be able to try to defend that. What I mean? And they haven't been able to do so. When you look at the amount of sixes that have been hit, or boundaries for that matter.
Right.
And compared the ratio to dot balls, the bad balls are got to be really bad for the batsman to be clearing the boundaries so regularly.
Yeah, definitely.
So
definitely. Yeah, it raises a big concern because when you start, like you said, the bowlers have to be more consistent in bowling in the areas to deny so many boundaries. I sometimes when I'm watching, I see guys trying to bowl just a bit too fast.
Yeah.
Instead of just bowling wicket to wicket, force the batsman to push you, around for a couple of singles, if you're not gonna get a wicket, you only give up 1 and 2. Don't if you're trying to bowl so hard, edge can go for 4 as quickly as it can go for 6 in some fields. You know what I mean? So.
it goes back to the old saying, you can't have a field for bare bird.
That's right. Yeah, so true. So true. But let's go down to Wellington Oval today, because Devonshire Rec were looking as if they were in a good position to pick up a victory at one point, with St. George's chasing 159. St. George's were 78 for 6. And then Zico Burgess came in and scored 64 off of 22 balls. He hit 3 4s, 7 6s, and he teamed up with Jonte Smith, who was 45 not out, 32 balls, 1 4, and 3 6s, and they chased down the 159. George O'Brien was the pick of the Devonshire Recreation Club bowlers. He bowled 4 overs, 3 for 18, 15 dot balls. He and Nairobi Carmichael had St. George's in trouble because Nairobi had 2 wickets, eventually gave up 34 runs in 3 overs. Shaquille Pitcher took an early wicket as well, but he gave up 29 runs in his 4 overs. And then earlier, Devonshire Rec had batted. They had Treadwell Gibbons was 58 not out, off for 49 balls, 4 4s, 1 6. Alan Douglas, 50 off of 30, 6 6s. Those two combined put on a 97-run partnership to take Devonshire Rec to that score where they felt they could defend it. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I would have thought so. Especially with the Dougie and George in there.
Right.
That's just 2. That's what 8 overs between the 2. But you would have thought that they would have been a little bit more competitive towards the end. But you see, it goes right back to the principle about partnerships.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And being able to use common sense and work through the issue that St. George's were encountering at that time.
Right.
And then of course, you got Jonte, that's a seasoned player, a smart player, to help out at the other end.
Right. Yeah. And then the team we should be talking about a lot right now, Somerset Cricket Club.
Yeah.
Somerset have this season in league play have changed a lot of fortune. They're on a winning streak. They won by 7 wickets over Cleveland County today. They bowled Cleveland out for 73. Stephen Brimmer was the only one. Well, 2 of 3 players that made double figures. He got 19, but you had Dominic Sabir taking 3 wickets for 6 runs from 3 overs. You had Jamal Proctor, 3 wickets for 11 runs from 4 overs. Jamal had 17 dot balls. Sabir had 13 dot balls. Jade Morrissey had 11 dot balls. He bowled 3 overs, 1 for 12. Janico Francis, 11 dot balls, 4 overs, 1 for 18. And Teo Smith, 3 overs, 1 for 20. He had 7 dot balls. And to be honest, they gave up 11 extras, but tight bowling, and you saw the fact that Cleveland lost wickets so regularly, it was too difficult to rebound. And then in Somerset's turn, Proctor scored 38 not out over 40 balls, 3 4s, 1 6. He didn't have a good day yesterday, but his continuing his form as an opener, one that will keep not only in the local scene, but also he'll go on the international scene with a lot of confidence holding the bat.
Yeah, most definitely. And the beauty part about young Proctor, he can create many options for the captain. Because it's just that type of player. He's an impact player.
Right.
So it's good for Somerset and equally as good, for Bermuda.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
When I look at Somerset, they ain't got no real big superstars in that team. You just got the emerging players now in Sabir and Proctor. Of course, Gennaro is there. You know what I mean? to lend assistance. But I just think that they got that formula right. The Berlin group is obviously Berlin to a plan. Because they've been consistent right along through the season. What will be interesting to see is if they can maintain that,
right?
Because at some time they're going to be tested,
Right.
And it'd be interesting to see how they handle that test, and I'm hoping that they will be very successful in doing so.
Right.
But all eyes are on Somerset for sure.
Definitely. I just want to say Doc Mandis is trying to get in. He's not having a lot of success from Seabreeze, so I've told him to just keep trying and see if he can pop one. We will be joined at the bottom of the hour, hopefully, by Brianna Ray, who's just back from Australia. We can catch up with her and find out, what's on the horizon for her. But we're going to take our first commercial break, and when we come back, Terry, we'll look at some of the first division results. That interesting one-run victory for Somerset Bridge over Willicott yesterday. We'll be right back.
Putting down the weapons.
You seeing this? We're raising a glass to Bermuda's roots with Barrett's Ginger Beer. Originally crafted right here at home since 1874, it's the island's favorite fizz for a reason. Whether you're at the beach or watching the race this Bermuda Day, Barrett's brings bold Bermudian flavor to every moment. Find it now at Lindo's. Barrett's Ginger Beer from John Barrett & Sons, celebrating Bermuda one sip at a time. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Beneath the clear blue sky, where the ocean meets the land, and the long-tails fly in Bermuda. Our hearts belong to this beautiful island. As an island, we are strong, proudly Bermudian. In every single way, from the sunrise to the sunset, and every single day, for over 135 years. It's been clear, Lady Silence, proudly Bermudian. Bringing us near. Cause we are proudly Bermudian. Digital is proudly Bermudian. Digital is proudly Bermudian.
And welcome back. Well, yeah, I did mention we want to look at that first division match yesterday. Somerset Bridge winning by 1 run over Willicott in a match that went right down to the wire at Devonshire Recreation Club, I believe it was. No, I'm sorry, at Wellington Oval. Somerset Bridge had betted first. They had scored the 120 for 6 in the 20 overs that they were allotted. Callum McIntosh scored 28. Samir Tavares placed 19. Jason Smith and Sean Riley both 13. Donnie Charles added 16. You had in the bowling department, Sheldon Caesar 2 for 22. Keoki Wainwright 2 for 16. But then Willicott would have felt confident going into a run chase with the likes of Ross Solomon Burrows, Quincy James to open up the inning. Burrows ended up scoring 42. Shaquille Bean scored 17 along with Sheldon Caesar 17 not out, but they just could not get going. One thing that Somerset Bridge, they only gave up 5 extras, Terry.
Wow. Really?
5 extras, 4 wides, 1 no ball.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Definitely. In the Berlin department, he didn't take a wicket, but he only gave up 13 runs in 3 overs. Tavares Place. Noah Woods only gave up 13 runs in 4 overs. He had 15 dot balls. Donnie Charles, 2 for 20, 13 dot balls in his 4 overs. Sean Riley, 2 for 26, 16 dot balls in his 4 overs. Douglas, 2 for 29, 9 dot balls. And McIntosh was quite expensive. He gave up 18 runs in his 1 over. But outside of that, everybody else contributed by bowling tight. The field was set to the bowling, and they denied Willicotts. I mean, and I know Willicott, the guy from Willicotts would have been kind of disappointed with the fact that they could not get that 120 runs.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a major disappointment for Willicotts, because I'm sure they would have been feeling very, very optimistic to chase that 120 down.
Right.
But again, you lose wickets early up front. It puts the team on the back foot and puts a little bit of pressure down in that middle order.
Yeah.
And if they're bowling tight, like their figures reflect, then that's creating pressure, and pressure creates wickets. That's how that works.
Sure. Another team that we've been talking about all season, even though they're playing in the first division, you still got to do the business. Southampton Rangers. They beat Warwick Workman by 52 runs yesterday. Southampton Rangers scored 187 for 6, and surprisingly enough, no Dion Stubble in the lineup. But they got 52 from Dante Bellman. Aronde Bascom opened with Dante. He scored 30. They got 34 from Swain Campbell late down in the order, and Darian Gibbons added 19. So they had that 187 in the 20 overs. In the bowling department, Shanari Boyles Simons took 4 wickets for 23 for Warwick, or for 4 overs. He had 10 dot balls, but pretty much the other bowlers were quite expensive throughout their inning. Then Warwick opened up with Malachi Jones and Kamal Levrock. The pair put on 43 runs in 4 overs before Malachi went, and Malachi went for 21. Kamal went for 24. Corey Burgess was the top scorer with 48, but they just could not get enough, as you always said, partnerships to close down that gap on what Southampton Rangers had put up. Yeah.
Again, partnerships. Just go back to Rangers. It's admirable to see that they still can win without Dion in the team. Yeah. That's character. Where they're not just relying on one player to motivate them and get them across the line. Yeah. So that's good on Southampton Rangers' part. But again, you got your 2 best players open bat, and both of them are out before 30.
Right.
Before any one of them make 30 runs. So, that's always going to be pressure on a team like Warwick that are building themselves. They're rebuilding as well.
Yeah.
So, they may have to just rethink some things there when it comes to the batting order and how they want to approach the batting.
Well, they're still waiting for a few guys to return back from school. So I think they're just getting through with what they have right now. But like you said, rethink the batting order, because you want to build confidence. And it's nothing like change and run a little and things start working for you. And everybody has the confidence, not just the 2 players, 2 or 3 players that you're relying on. Everybody, the team builds confidence, and with that you start picking up wins.
So I don't know who else is in the middle order in Warwick's batting lineup. Any reputable, experienced batsman.
Yeah, they lost quite a few guys, but the captain. Stephen Dill, he's been struggling with the bat. Where last season he was picking up a lot of 20s, 30s, and 40s.
Mm-hmm.
You know, along the way, where I think he hasn't gotten across the 10 mark yet this season. So that puts more pressure on other people trying to, you know, build on an inning sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have an experienced batsman down in the middle order to bring the other least experienced players through. You know, to guide them.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have a senior player down in the middle there somewhere.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Because that's how they develop. That's how they evolve, out in the middle with experience. You know.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yesterday, Bayless Bay put up a big total, 193 for 5 against Cleveland up at Southampton Oval. You had Delray scoring 70, Coolidge Durham 34, Azende Furbet 25. When you start looking at partnerships, the third wicket partnership was worth 109 runs between Delray and Coolidge,
right?
Which kind of would have put Cleveland right out of the game. To go from 2 for 13 to 3 for 122, and then, you know, Delray was out, Coolidge was out, and then, you know, you had another partnership. So you look at the Burling, Tybray Robinson, 2 for 29 off of 4, but when, you know, guys were just giving up too many runs along the way for Cleveland, who have struggled all season in this Premier Division. Bayless Bay, when I saw the name, I was quite surprised because Irvin Remain suited up yesterday.
Yeah, I saw it in a video actually. But again, I guess, you know, on Saturday, from what I'm able to understand, I believe that on Saturdays, Bayless Bay struggle for players because a number of players are not available on Saturdays.
Right.
So I'm thinking that was possibly the situation yesterday where Irvin had to suit up, and again, you know, well done to him.
Yeah. 2 overs, 1 for 6. Hey, if you're gonna be on the sideline trying to instruct guys what to do, when you do get that one chance to, you have to be able to show them, and basically that's what Irvin's done in his 2 overs. Very disciplined, 7 dot balls, only giving up 6 runs in. If you look at it, 12 balls, he gave up 6 runs and took a wicket with 7 dot balls. So that's discipline where you have it, you know, and from experience. You're gonna do it from that experience part,
right?
You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I think we're getting close to Doc.
Okay.
Let me just see. Doc, can you hear us? No, no.
I see it there.
His
I don't think
internet
it's connected.
his internet is just going off. All right, so let's take our second commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to be joined by Brianna Ray, who had a stint in Australia. We've been talking to her about that and what's coming up for her on the horizon. We'll be right back.
Over the pink sands, beneath the cloud blue sky, where the ocean meets the land, and the long-tails fly in Bermuda. Our hearts belong to this beautiful island. As an island, we are strong, proudly Bermudian. In every single way, from the sunrise to the sunset, in every single day, for over 135 years. It's been clear, Digicel is proudly Bermudian, bringing us near. Cause we are proudly Bermudian. Digicel is proudly Bermudian. Digicel is proudly Bermudian.
Sun, sand, and celebrating Bermuda Day. But who has time to run errands? Let Drop It bring your beach day essentials right to your doorstep. Order everything you need for a perfect Bermuda day from Lindo's. Snacks, drinks, sunscreen, and everything in between. It's the easiest way to enjoy the day without the hassle of the store. Order now and let Drop It take care of the rest. Drop It brings Lindo's to your door. Why go anyplace else?
Circus putting down the weapons.
You seen this?
And welcome back. Well, I see Brianna backstage. We're just waiting for her to turn on her camera, and we'll be joined by her. But we'll continue on with some of these results. Terry, it's been a weekend. Yesterday, St. David's almost destroyed St. George's Cricket Club, restricted St. George's Cricket Club to 95 for 9 in 20 overs. Jason Anderson scored 24. Mackay Simmons scored 22. Sinclair Smith scored 10. But the Burling, Derek Bregman, 4 overs, 1 for 6, 18 dot balls. Isaiah O'Brien, 4 overs, 2 for 28, 14 dot balls. Naquan, none for 17, 7 dot balls. Kevon Fabler, 1 for 16, 12 dot balls from 4 overs. Justin Pitcher, 4 wickets for 12 runs from 4 overs, 17 dot balls. When you have that many dot balls, and it basically handcuffs a team.
Most definitely. I believe Justin's now bowling spin.
Yes.
Right. So that St. David's is loaded up with the spin. And I would assume that St. George's wicket is taking spin.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, we are joined by Brianna Ray. Brianna, first of all, thank you very much for joining us. Just got to take the mute off here. Turn your mic on.
Hi, good evening. Thanks for having me.
Right, Brianna.
You sound like you got that Australian accent.
Yeah.
What a few summers would do for you, huh?
Yeah.
So Brianna, take us through your time in Australia, because obviously, you're in a different atmosphere, you're in a different climate. You were in England for quite some time, but then going down, a lot of things changed in Australia. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, it was kind of a big change. It was a last minute decision, and I was quite excited to see, play somewhere different. Obviously, it's a bit more challenging. The pitches in Australia, they're more suited towards batters. So it was that challenge as going as a bowler, adjusting to that. And then also the excitement of playing on a batter-friendly wicket compared to the UK, where it's a bit soggy, Yeah.
And having to adjust to it, how long did you think it took you to do that?
As a bowler, it was a lot easier, I think. You just kind of was bowling a little bit more fuller than I normally would. And then as a batter, you would think it would be a bit easier, because it is easier pitches, but I struggled a bit more. But towards the end, I was finding out what worked for me more and adjusting to that. So I would say, the batting took a lot more than my bowling.
Yeah. I must say, when you were playing in the mixed team, you were a lot more successful. I mean, your bowling was consistent when you were playing in both forms of the game, but you were more successful in getting wickets in when you were playing in the mix. What would you attribute that to?
I don't know. I enjoy bowling with the men's ball a little bit more. It's a bit bigger, so that I can grip it a little bit more.
Right.
I guess that kind of helped a bit, and then I get a bit more fiery and feisty playing against men. I don't know why. It just brings out a little bit of a battle because obviously they're playing against a girl, and for them it's like, oh, they don't want to get out to a girl, and they're like, why are you playing? So it kind of brings out that intensity for me.
So you got to envision when you're playing with the girls, you got to envision more men.
Yeah, I get a bit more feisty with the girls, but
For real.
yeah, it's a different like playing men's cricket and playing women's cricket. It's so different. Like women obviously are a bit more used to a woman bowling at them, whereas a man is not. Like my height and the skiddiness for a man is so different for when I'm bowling at the other women, and so I guess that kind of helps a bit, just a bit of a difference in what they see.
Sure. Terry, you want to jump in?
Yeah. So Brianna, what was the difference between your training routines when you was in the UK compared to when you got to Australia? What was the routines like?
So when I got to Australia, I was only training twice a week. But then I kind of realised for me that was not enough. I like a technical session, and then I like a net session. So I got my coach to give me another session where we did technical stuff. Because in the UK, I was training probably 5 days out of the week. One of those was 9 to 5. So it was a big jump down. So I had to control a lot of what I wanted and what I needed to get out of training when I was in Australia. And also be able to understand and know what I wanted to gain from those technical sessions I'd have with the one-on-one coach. The intensity-wise it was a lot less intense, even though the standard was pretty high. So I was playing with a higher standard, but the intensity was a lot lower. So it was a very chilled-out environment, and I felt very relaxed with what I was doing.
But when you're betting in between the UK and Australia, what was one of the most difficult things for you to adjust to?
I guess the ball coming onto you a lot quicker. Yeah, in the UK, it's very tennis ball bounce sometimes, especially like start of the summer, and then towards the end, it starts to almost, the ball starts to do more laterally rather than the bounce. So it was getting used to that almost consistency of the ball bouncing. And the swing as well, there was no swing. It was more nip off the seam, which you had to which is almost harder because you don't know when it's going to nip or where it's going to nip, So that was a big struggle for me, yeah.
That's interesting because, when a lot of players travel or tour to Australia, they always have a challenge with adapting to the bounce, the pace, that lateral movement, especially early with the new ball. So I just wanted to have some idea how you were able to deal with that,
Yeah, it took a lot of hours in the nets and a lot of balls being thrown at me, and having to be able to say to my coach, like, I don't want to feel comfortable. Like, I want you to bounce me. I want you to hit that kind of like rib height with the ball. Like, I didn't want to feel comfortable, and doing that early on helped me a lot towards the end. I'd say, yeah.
Great. So, and overall, which country you enjoyed most in your cricket between the two?
I think Australia, to be honest. Yeah, it was, the weather was a lot nicer. You didn't ever you never think it was going to get rained off, and I guess because it was a lot hotter playing here and like growing up in Bermuda where it's hot all the time. I enjoyed that more than being cold and having hand warmers in my pocket. So yeah,
that's great. Good stuff. Well done, Brianna.
So what's next on the near horizon for you?
So I'm gonna stay here until trying to get some sort of opportunity in the UK, maybe at the back end of summer, and then head back out to Perth again, play for South Perth.
Okay.
In their summer when they start.
Are you attempting to play cricket here?
Yeah, I was meant to play today, but my back's acting up, and just trying to listen to my body a bit more. So I had to pull out early this morning, unfortunately, but I was planning to play today for flats.
Right.
And I'm hoping to be back after May 24th weekend as well.
Okay. That's always a thing. You know, when you're an athlete, you have to start listening to your body. But when you're young and excited, you don't worry about those no niggles. You just go out and play anyway.
Yeah.
But the mental part of the game for you, how challenging was that? And how long did it take you to settle down in your head that, okay, I'm not playing on the track in Bermuda, I'm now playing in England, and then now I'm playing in Australia?
Yeah, it takes a lot, but I think I'm very adaptable with kind of what I need to do, and I kind of understand kind of this. I will sit down and I'll try and figure out a plan how to get where I need to be, and I think that's something that playing in the UK for a very long time kind of taught me. So being able to have that skill and apply it, it was. I'm very much like I want to keep getting better. So for me, if I can always find something to get better and be able to talk to people how I can get better, that's for me how I get past that kind of challenging part.
Sure. All right. Any more questions, Terry?
Yeah. So one other, Brianna, how about the mental preparation?
Yeah, I really struggled when I was in the UK. There's a bit more factors like a contract and kind of having to be better than everyone who I was playing with, everyone I was playing against, and better than everyone who already had a contract. So for me, that was my hardest mental thing, and being released from that environment helped me realize that that's not cricket for me, and understanding what cricket was to me, why I play cricket, and why I started, and being away from that, being in Perth, coming home for a bit at the end of last summer, helped me a lot to understand that. And now I feel like I can play cricket with no pressure, and I'm just play cricket to play cricket.
Right.
And obviously there are the mental parts. Like if I get hit for 6, I'm not thinking. Now I'm not. I used to think, oh, I'm not going to have a chance of, bowling another over. Now it's what can I do next ball? To get a single, or to get a dot ball, or to get a wicket.
Right.
I'm trying to see it as, okay, what do I need to do right now, rather than what do I need to do in the future. So yeah, being able to simplify it down and see the short goals rather than the longer term goals.
Yeah, well done, because the top cricketers, the ones that are really, really good cricketers, are the ones that are able to deal with that disappointment, analyze it really quickly, and then put it away to deal with the next ball, whether or not they're batting or bowling. So good stuff. Yeah. Well done.
What would you say to date has been the highlight of your career?
Pardon?
What would you say to date? What has been the highlight of your career?
Oh, I think when I went to Abu Dhabi last February, not this February, last February 2024, with the Blaze, and we won the T20 Cup there. That was pretty amazing. Especially I was coming back from my stress fracture in my back, and they selected me because I'd worked hard all winter with my batting. They'd selected me to go, and we ended up winning the whole competition. It was pretty good.
Okay. All right. Well, we want to wish you all the best, and hopefully things fall in the way that you want them to fall in, and you get back to the UK and you're back in action. And then obviously South Perth will want you back down there. You look like you was having a good time there, out in the middle with bat and ball. So, just keep going, keep positive. Hopefully you stay healthy, and we see you back in action. Well, hopefully we get to see you in action here in Bermuda before you get back out there, and you can send a few of these guys back to the pavilion, shaking their head.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Wish you all the best as well, Brianna.
Thank you.
So we're going to take another commercial break. When we come back, we'll wrap up this edition of the Island Stats Cricket Show. Thanks, Brianna.
Thank you.
Over the pink sands, beneath the clear blue sky, where the ocean meets the land, and the long-tails fly in Bermuda. Our hearts belong to this beautiful island. As an island, we are strong, proudly Bermudian. In every single way, from the sunrise to the sunset, and every single day, for over 135 years, it's been clear. It's silence proudly Bermudian, bringing us near. Cause we are proudly Bermudian. It's silence proudly Bermudian. It's silence proudly Bermudian.
Okay, we've got the chairs packed? Check. Sunscreen? Check. Flags and coolers? Check. Made sure to stop at Lindo's? Check. Whether you're running the race or just racing to get the best view, Lindo's has everything you need for Bermuda Day. Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
They're just putting down the weapons.
You seen this?
And welcome back. Well, Terry, we've had some outstanding performances this weekend, and we just want to run through. Obviously, Trey Manders' 85 today helped St. David's to beat Bailey's Bay. Also amongst the runs in that match, St. David's, Bailey's Bay got 73 from Coolidge Durham. In a losing cause, but also this weekend you had the likes of Charles Trott scoring 74 in a winning cause for PHC. Dalray Rollins scored 70 in a winning cause for Bailey's Bay. Malachi Jones scored 66 for Warwick Workmen's. Yesterday in their win, he got 34 today. Zico Burgess scoring 64 for St. George's in their win over Devonshire Recreation Club today. Dante Wellman scored 52 for Western Stars in their victory yesterday. In the bowling department, you had Kevin Hurdle taking 4 for 7 from 3 overs against for Western Stars in their victory yesterday. Justin Pitcher bowled extremely well yesterday for St. David's, taking 4 for 12 against St. George's Cricket Club. Shanoy Boyles Simons took 4 for 23 for Warwick Workmen's Club, despite their defeat yesterday. Dominique Sabir took 3 for 6 today, and he took 3 for 13 yesterday in 2 Somerset wins. Jamal Proctor took 3 for 11 today, also got that 38 not out. And Zari Painter took 3 for 12. Sage Carter for PHC took 3 for 13. Young Trey Vance took 3 for 13 for Warwick today, but in a losing cause. But when we started to look at the impact of players and what they've been able to do for not only for themselves but for their team, where do you start looking at either holding the bat or holding the ball impacts a team, Barry?
Yeah, so I mean, all right, in this instance, the first one up for batting would be Trey.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna pick two here. 85 against Baylor's Bay. Consider one of the top teams, and making 85 in that run chase. I would say that he's a candidate.
Yeah.
And in a winning course.
Uh-huh.
And the other one would be a Burler that I feel that was outstanding. Will be Sabir.
Yes.
Where he got wickets both days. And what was the highest? 12 runs over.
No, 6 runs, 3 wickets for 6 runs off of 3 overs.
Right. And what was
the other one? Was 12 runs. Yes.
Yeah. Right. So look, 18. He got 6 wickets for 18 runs.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So he will be the candidate for the Burler.
Uh-huh.
And Trey will be the candidate from a batting perspective. So we just got to decide. What's your take?
I was leaning towards Justin Pitcher and Sabir. It came down to them because if you look at what Justin was able to do yesterday with the 4 wickets, and then today he took 2 wickets. But he gave up 38 runs today. So I was looking at the two and the significance of the 2 teams that they played. Justin took the 4 against St. George's and then 2 against Bailey's Bay, helping St. David's to win both matches. Today he also scored. Well, he was at the wicket when he runs to score 1 not out. But I'm happy to go with your recommendation of Dominic Sabir, because we look at it, you're right, 6 overs, no maidens, 6 wickets for 18 runs. Regardless of who you playing against, you have to build control. You still have to build at the stumps. You still have to force the batsman to hit the ball in the air to get caught, and so forth. And he's been consistent since he's been the leader of Somerset. And I think with his mentality of you don't see him getting flustered too many times. And it was funny to hear Brianna even say, how you quickly respond after being hit for 6 or after being hit for 4, how quickly you shut that off and you go back and you think,
get on to the
okay,
next
what I got to do with the next ball. And I think if anybody watches how Dominic carries himself, he doesn't get too flustered when he gets hit around. He just and I think with the leadership, it's helped him to even be more.
Definitely. He's taking the responsibility very well. I mean, I'm not taking nothing away from Justin. I mean, a wicket's a wicket and a 100's a 100. I don't care who you're playing against.
That's right.
But I feel that for this weekend, my pick will be Sabir.
Yes.
For those very same reasons that you just brought to everyone's attention tonight.
And I am happy to go with that. Saying that Dominic Sabir will be the player of the week for this week, and I want to congratulate him and in the entire Somerset team, because for cricket to actually continue to grow, you have to see a team like Somerset who have bounced back, and they really have proven to themselves that they belong where they are, and I think it's next week they'll be in the playoffs. Right. So hey, and let the chips fall where they may after that. So congratulations to them and to their captain. So and
Gennaro must be doing a great job up there as well.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Picking up right where Jeff left off, and just the confidence in players, and I think the fact that, like you have already indicated, Gennaro is able to be on the field with them, play with them, give them the guidance on the field, and the fact that he could be in the pavilion doing the same thing, you still hear that voice and that confident voice that can lend that extra hand. So
I think that is vital for Somerset, and I'm sure that's playing a vital part in the success up to this point. That he is on the field of play. I'm sure he's allowing Sabir to make those decisions, but in consultation at times, and it's required, and it bodes well for Somerset, and it's good to see a team like Somerset playing so well,
Yeah.
Other than the teams like Bayless Bay, St. David's, and
Mhm.
George's.
Yeah.
Now we got another team in the field. So,
That's right.
so it shows that there's going to be the Premier League is even more competitive.
That's right. That's right.
And we see that already,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, bow down to Somerset.
Definitely. Well, we'll be back next week, Sunday, with another edition of the Island Stats Cricket Show. And I believe it is playoff weekend next weekend. So Saturday and Sunday, we should know who's in the final next Sunday's show. So we look forward to a busy weekend. Obviously, we have the Bermuda Day half marathon on Friday.
Yes.
And then it's recovery time because it's cricket on Saturday.
That's right. And I think it's a few cricketers running on Friday too.
Well, they better run between the wicket. Save something to run between the wicket, man.
I'm telling you. That's a tall water, boy.
Oh, what? Coming from St. George's, man.
I've run 24 for me a few times, man.
You're right.
It take me about a week to recuperate.
Say to yourself when you get in town, what have I got myself into, man?
Say it's not so.
Bring that finish line to me. But all the best to everybody that's competing on Friday. And obviously, good luck to those teams on Saturday and Sunday as they go back into cricket. You enjoy the week, brother, and have a good holiday. And we'll be talking again on Sunday night.
Yes, sir. Look forward to it. Have a great week.
And I've been just told Brianna is running.
She's running?
Yeah.
Okay, but I gotta look out for her.
Yes, indeed. Okay.
Yes.
Well, good luck to Brianna as well.
Yes, indeed. Most definitely.
Hey, I hope you have practiced once or twice.
I'm telling you. Because I've seen over the last week, I've seen a lot of people make that track.
Yes, indeed. All right.
Okay, man.
Have a good one.
Yeah, you too. Thanks.
Okay.
All right, bye.